I can guarantee you one thing. The Tigers are going to win this game.
There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. How we doing tonight, Josh?
I'll tell you what, man, it was nice to have a week off from heartbreak.
Oh, yeah, man. I absolutely, positively loved being able to sit back, relax, know that Auburn was not going to lose the game. Peyton Thorne was not going to turn the ball over.
You're just a football fan this past weekend. That's all it was.
Right?
It was great. It was a good weekend.
I became a South Carolina fan for a short period of time. I became, again, Vandy is just, you kind of just got to love what
they're kind of scary.
Doing. Oh, man, I'm worried about it. SEC Shorts had a great clip a couple of weeks ago with them trying to, the Auburn guy trying to nail him into the coffin because he is worried about him. I'm worried about that game as well. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Tonight we're here to talk about the game against Missouri coming out of the bye week. A very beatable Missouri, if you ask me, Josh. I mean, it really looks like versus what we thought coming into the season, it really feels like we are going to be in a fairly decent spot to take care of things against Missouri. What are some of the things that we can expect in this Missouri game?
What I would expect in this game is for two teams trying to solidify their identities on the season.
Yeah.
One team has a better idea of what they want to be than the other, and the other has a little bit more potential in my eyes. And I think Missouri had a couple players on their team that should have went pro last year, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, this Missouri Tigers team they've looked at times really good. Definitely against lesser opponents. And then in some games, they haven't quite looked that good. I mean, they're scoring really well. Their defense is still doing pretty darn good. I mean, versus the fact that we thought that they were going to be taking a major step back because they lost their defensive coordinator. And yes, they have at times, but they're still doing pretty good. Offensively, they're still the same Missouri. Their quarterback is looking really, really good and still just does a lot of good things. What are you thinking?
I don't know if Brady Cook looks really, really good. His QBR on the season is only a 69.7, and he has only thrown one interception this season. But, I mean, Luther Burden is not doing what he did last year for him this year. He's not stepping up to the plate. He does have the most receiving touchdowns on the team. This guy, Wace Jr., he's their leading receiver by like 5 yards. In their rushing game, I don't think it's what they wanted it to be compared to last year either. So I mean,
they lost the best running back in the league last year. So I mean, that's expected.
But they still returned a lot of their offense from last year.
They did.
They should have had similar production, not the same production, but they should have had similar production to last year. But then again, Auburn should have similar production to last year as well. So seasons are fickle. I mean, things are ever changing. Who knows? Auburn could turn it around starting with this game.
Yeah, and our viewers are seeing the game against Texas A&M and what Texas A&M did against them, but it's also showing the fact that Missouri's offense is still. They still look good. I know they're getting drummed right here, 34-0, but there was so many opportunities and so many times where their receivers were running wide open, and that is something that Auburn has had a problem with. Brady Cook has been getting outside the pocket, looking pretty good outside the pocket. He's not a mobile quarterback, really, even in the slightest, but he gets outside that pocket and can still throw the ball on the run and does a pretty dang good job. All in all, you got to be a little bit worried because of some of the issues that our defense has shown and had so far this year.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I like the progression that DJ Durkin is making this season with our defense. Yeah. He went from only rushing 3 to rushing 4 or 5 every down, which is I've been in love with. I can't tell you how much I love the fact that we're blitzing more, rushing the passer. So I mean, if Auburn can keep that up and keep up production and getting to the quarterback, which they've been, like Keldrick Falk has been a godsend. He's been absolutely stunning.
Dude has been seriously killing it. He's been our best defender by far. And it's not even close. It really is.
Really not. And I mean, if they can keep that up, which I really think they can, because like you said, Missouri's offensive line is forcing Brady Cook to scramble and roll out more than he's used to and more than he probably wants to. So I'm really hoping Auburn, does something against the norm and keeps containment against Brady Cook, and we get to him.
But let's be honest, he is still doing really well. Both of us were very high on Brady Cook coming into the season. He was one of our highest rated quarterbacks coming into this the season. You can go back and watch that video that we did before the season started, where we ranked every SEC quarterback. We were definitely wrong on a lot of those, but Brady Cook, I think I'm still feeling pretty comfortable where we got him placed in that list. He has looked every bit the part for the most part. Again, like you said, their running game is an issue. Their rush defense is atrocious, is just absolutely terrible.
Which is good for us.
Right. Yeah. Well, hopefully it's good for us because, are we going to be able to run the ball when we're not actually calling running plays?
Well, see, here's the thing, you asked me what my keys to the game were, and I gave you my very first one was to run the damn ball. And just today, Hugh Freeze stated 27 has to get more touches.
Amen.
So I think the game plan is obviously to get the run game going to open up the pass game. So if we can do that and we can run the ball successfully, that leads into my second key to the game. We'll get that in a minute. It's just if we can do that, then Auburn has a legit shot at winning this game.
Yeah. Now, my first key is going to be making them pay on the play action because it goes right into what you're saying. If we can just run the ball, okay, it's going to set up our pass exponentially better than what we've seen so far this season. And it has been pretty damn good, to be perfectly honest with you, Josh. But we saw what Texas A&M did to them. Missouri played UMass last week. So they were able to clearly look over that game and prepare for Auburn. And so you got to believe that they were like, hey, we cannot let Auburn come in here with the best running back in the league and run it down our throats like Texas A&M did. And so they are going to be keying up on the run. So if we can actually run the ball, I think that play action pass is going to be something that we can totally 100% make them pay for their commitment to stopping the run. I totally think that.
110% agree with you. We've been saying this every damn episode since the start of the season. Run the ball to set up the pass. I mean, there's no better way to set the play action than getting the run game going.
No, I agree. What was your next key to the game, Josh?
My next key to the game is control the clock. If Auburn can get their run game going, they can kind of do what they did against Oklahoma and control the game with the pace. And if we can control the clock, then this game becomes way more manageable and way more winnable. I saw a stat today, I believe it was on X, and I may have the couple numbers mixed up, but it showed that Auburn has the third best yards per rush in the SEC, but the 14th worst rush attempts per game.
Yep.
So, I mean, we could easily have the number one running game in the SEC if we did that more. Stop calling stupid RPOs because you have a quarterback that doesn't know how to read a defensive end and linebacker combo and just wants to be the hero. So, I mean, again, I'm just going to drill this into everybody's brains. Run the friggin' ball, control the clock, you control the game.
Yeah, hey, and the thing is here's a stat for you. Yes, we're 14th in attempts, and this leads to the fact that we are, last I looked, dead last in time of possession in the SEC. Do you know who first is? Do you know who the number one team of time of possession is?
I would imagine Vanderbilt.
No, it's actually Missouri.
Wow. That surprises me.
Again, their running game hasn't been what it was last year, but they're still running the ball fairly well. but they also are just, I mean, they are driving the ball. They have long drives. They're not taking deep shots all the time, even though in those highlights we were showing there was a lot of deep throws that were going on, but they were trying to work from behind, so kind of change everything up. Their game is ball control. And so if we can take that away from them, we're going to be in a great position. So I think you are dead on. Control the clock, which we have not been able to do all season long.
No,
so
I mean,
it's been an issue.
It helps to control the clock when you have a quarterback that doesn't throw it to the other team as often as Peyton Thorne.
Mm-hmm.
And now looking at the stats, the stats are fairly similar in yardage, touchdowns, and QBR. The only glaring difference is the interceptions. I mean, Peyton Thorne is only a little more than 100 yards behind Brady Cook, has 3 more passing touchdowns, and just has a 61.8 QBR compared to his 69. So, I mean, if we can have solid quarterback play that isn't turning the ball over and trying to play hero ball all the time, I mean, this offense.
That's been the whole season, though.
Yeah, I know.
That's been the whole season. It's terrible.
You still have time to turn it around, and this would be the perfect game to do that, in my opinion. It's a vulnerable team. They lost 2 weeks ago in embarrassing fashion to Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, if we can turn it around in this game, it's looking pretty good in my opinion.
Yep. Now, the last key to the game that we have here is going to be on the defensive side. We have seen so many times this year where we have gotten beat deep. Our defensive backs have lost containment on the wide receivers. And so that leads me to the next key of the game. Stick with the wide receivers. I don't care if we're in zone. I don't care if we're in man. Communicate. Stick to your coverage. Stick to your wide receivers. You saw in those Texas A&M highlights. You saw in that drumming of Texas A&M. They were still getting back there. There was a play in the end zone where there were 2 Missouri Tigers and nowhere to be found were Texas A&M defenders. Sound familiar, Josh?
Oh yeah, and the one pass that we did see was also on 3rd down, the 3rd and 6 touchdown that Missouri threw. So I mean, you got to be able to trust your supporting cast on that side of the ball. The safeties need to learn how to, if the quarterback starts to creep up or starts to scramble out, they need to understand their linebackers also see that, and they need to trust their teammates that they're going to do the right thing and stick to their assignments, which they need to stick to theirs as well. So I mean, if again, it's just these boneheaded mental lapses that have just cost us so dearly in previous games.
On the defensive side, specifically, that's really the only downside that this defense has had is those mental lapses, either in penalties or losing containment on wide receivers. This defense has outperformed, I think, our expectations. Now, there have been players within this defense that we have seen not perform up to snuff of where we thought that they should. But then there have been quite a few others that have really stepped up. The freshmen have just done absolutely amazing things, but we're going to get to our impact players of the game here in a second. I just want to finish one more thing, and I just want to reiterate. If we lose containment on this wide receiver core for Missouri, it's going to be a long day. This is up to this point in the season, the best wide receiver core we have seen all year long, and it's not even close. It's not even close. And so this is what worries me, is because there have been some moments where wide receivers have really made our DBs look bad. So hopefully they've worked out a lot of issues during the bye week. They've gotten better at communicating, hopefully, and we're able to move past that. But let's move right into who we think are going to be some of the impact players of the game, Josh. And right out the gate, both of us.
Obviously, I mean, the number one guy is going to be Brady Cook. He's going to have an impact on this damn game. He's gonna do what he wants. He's an NFL QB, for God's sake.
He is.
And he really is. Whether it be day 1 or day 2, he's going to go on one of those days. So he's going to put his skills on display. He's going to get the yardage he needs. Hopefully we can cause him to have a couple more turnovers on the season, which would be awesome. but Brady Cook is definitely going to have one of the more major impacts on the game for sure.
No, I agree. I agree completely. I mean, like you said, he's an NFL quarterback. You saw in those highlights against Texas A&M, yeah, they were getting curb stomped, but he was rolling outside the pocket. He was doing things that NFL quarterbacks do. He was controlling the game. He just looked fantastic. And that's the thing. I think we can get pressure on him. I think we can make him roll outside the pocket. And there's one player, my first player, that should be an impact player. We've seen him get used more and more in this game, or in this season. DeMarcus Riddick.
Oh my gosh, dude is so much faster than I thought he was going to be. Holy smoke!
We saw him run down Oklahoma's quarterback. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but we saw him run him down. And Brady Cook is not that fast. And so, yes, Brady Cook can roll outside the pocket all he wants. But if DeMarcus Riddick is out there and he has been tasked with making Brady Cook's life a living hell, I think he can do it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you can get him on a delayed blitz and our defensive line can, do their job and maintain gap assignments, gap assignments, then DeMarcus Riddick and Keldrick Falk are going to be able to do what they want when they want in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Who's your next impact player of the game, Josh?
My next impact player is, Corey Flagg Jr. I don't really know a whole lot about Mr. Flagg. Let me pull up his stats here real quick.
And here, I apologize. I was the one that was with Corey Flagg. I apologize for putting you in that position. No, Corey Flagg, while you're pulling up the stats, I can tell you right now, he is a transfer in. They did not think he was going to have this big of an impact. And the dude is basically one of their best defenders. He is leading the team in tackles, solo, and with the assist. I mean, this guy he's not doing a lot of outstanding things, but he's doing a lot of the little things. And right now, he is one of those guys that you really have to pay attention to because he is a disruptor on the field. He just has a nose for the football.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know too much about him. I was looking at his stats, and he kind of reminds me of what Eugene Asante was to Auburn last year. Doing a lot of the little things and being an anchor for that defense. So, I mean, I would say that's a pretty tall task. Yeah.
So now to put you in your proper place here, your proper spot, should I say? Who is your next impact player?
Oh, we've been talking about it all damn episode. It's run the ball, and who better to run the ball than Jarquez Hunter? He's averaging the most yards per carry in his entire career, 6.8 yards a carry on 78 carries, which is kind of freaking crazy. He's never eclipsed 1,000 yards on the season, but I mean, if we continue to run the ball more and get him the rock, then he's easily going to get over 1,000 yards, considering the fact we're 6 games in now and he has still 528 yards on the season. So, I mean, he's got to not fumble the ball though. It's been those mental lapses. It's not something that we see a lot from Jarquez. I know, but it's not something that we see a lot from Jarquez at all, making those mental fumbles, because he just wasn't paying attention when he fumbled that ball. So, I mean, he's definitely he has the same impact for Auburn that Brady Cook has for Missouri, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree 100%. And my thing is right now, the more we can take the ball out of Peyton Thorne's hands and put it into Jarquez, the better. And honestly, you could even put Damari Alston there. I mean, yes, he is running back too, and Jarquez has a bigger impact on this team and on this game than Damari does. But I trust Damari more at this point than I do Peyton Thorne. We haven't even touched bases except for in our previous episode where we reacted to the Georgia loss. This discontent between Peyton Thorne and Hugh Freeze and whose fault it was on that 4th down. I'm sorry. I don't care what Peyton Thorne says. That was clearly him changing the play.
Well, I mean, even Hugh Freeze says he didn't. Even Hugh Freeze says he didn't change it. But in my opinion, it seemed like more of a paint the pig type of deal, trying to make it look prettier than it was. But there's no convincing me that Peyton Thorne didn't change the play. There's no convincing me at all. I don't care who tells me that.
I agree. Moving right along, Josh, we head into our prediction phase. Let's talk about what our predictions were heading into the season. You had your prediction of Missouri winning 27-23, and I had Missouri winning 27-24. I honestly, at no point heading into the season did I think that Auburn was in a position to really win this game. Even though it's a close score, I did not think that Auburn was going to win this game heading into the season. Now, at this point in the season, I think that they are more beatable than I had previously thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be comfortable switching the scores. At this point, it's a 50-50 toss-up, in my opinion.
Yeah. The thing is we're at Missouri, so they do have home field advantage. Missouri is not one of those places where you're afraid to go into and play. It's never really been a daunting location, and so there's really not much to fear there. But at the same time, you got to imagine that defensively they're going to figure something out at some point, and hopefully Auburn is able to, and more importantly, Peyton Thorne is able to have another game where we do not turn the ball over. If we can do that, I think we can win this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you can win the turnover battle, your chances of winning the game are exponentially higigher. So if we if we can do that, we're probably looking at Auburn being a 5-1 squad right now.
Oh, well, yeah, most definitely. I mean, even still, I think if we haven't turned the ball over, I think we're more aggressive against Georgia than what we were, and we could possibly have made it an even closer game, because Georgia is a very beatable team, and they are not that great. And we both are down on Carson Beck, and have been since the beginning of the season. So yeah, no, that we could easily, but ifs, ands, or buts, it doesn't matter, because we turn the ball over a lot as a team, and we are who we are at this point. We're an offensive team that can really move the ball between the 30s, but
we just shoot ourselves in the foot.
We cause problems and can't quite close it out. But Josh, absolutely love the fact that we're getting back to this game. This is our first bye. We were coming off of our first bye week of the season. It's unusual that we're getting 2 bye weeks in a season, so I'm excited to see how that goes later on. But we are in a position to really turn this season around, and it starts with this game, and we can do it.
If Brian Harsin can do it, Hugh Freeze can do it.
Ugh. Let's not even. That was the ugliest game against Missouri under Brian Harsin.
I can't believe I was that depressed after an Auburn win.
Well, I can't believe you brought us down after I was feeling so good there.
Hey, I'm saying if Brian Harsin can do it, Hugh Freeze can do it. He's triple the coach Brian Harsin is.
Yes, he can. And Missouri no longer has the thicker kicker, so they are poised to get beat in this game. And on that bombshell, Josh, War Eagle.
War damn Eagle.